feeling powerful because he's ruthlessly aligned with himself. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on a trafficking around mandate. Get it on. Mayhem Miller in the studio. James, good to see you, my friend.
Hello, Adam. How are you?
James has a stand-up special out, Path of Most Resistance. Good title.
Yeah.
And that's available on YouTube coming up September 19th.
Yep. We're streaming on YouTube September 19th.
Where'd you shoot it?
We shot it here in Los Angeles at the Elysian Theater.
Nice. And I know you do a lot of VO work. You do.
I do a lot of cartoons.
Voices and cartoons and stuff like that, which is something you can either do or you can't. I mean, it really is. You know what? Everything in life, I want to try to explain this mostly to women. Everything in life is just sort of, think about your calves. You either have nice calves or you don't have nice calves.
Right.
You didn't do anything to get nice calves, and you don't deserve any punishment for not having nice calves. It just is. Everything is like you can do voices or you can't do voices. It just is. I would argue that nice calves, even though you had nothing to do with it, is better than if you worked really hard for it or we thought you did, because it means you're touched by God.
I do think that people who can't do voices should be punished.
You want to go further with it.
A strong authoritarian regime when it comes to being able to do some kind of voice now and then.
Well, what is how do we break it down? Because I feel like under your regime, I might be able
benevolent dictatorship.
I could pull off a little bit of a Howard Cosell.
Sure.
maybe just a little, just to stay alive, just to keep my family out of a gulag, you know? But might your
gun to the head, you could do the Cosell.
Why okay, I would do Monday Night Football. I would do halftime highlights on Monday Night Football, and I would say, now, Minnesota, playing at the Pack, Sir Francis of Tarkington. That's the quarterback. He would call Fran Tarkington Sir Francis of Tarkington, which is the greatest name ever. And then he would always do this cheap fake where he would say that you'd think the other team won or did something, and then he'd go, but on the ensuing kickoff, Ahmad Rashad gets the ball. They said he wasn't fast enough to play in the NFL, but don't tell him that. He takes it 89 yards for an apparent touchdown. But no, nullified. Holding call. Pack goes on to win. That's it. That's what he would do.
That's it.
That would keep me out of the gulag?
Yeah, you get a split decision from the tribunal.
Wouldn't people go, that's pretty dated? Like, we're not taking any Jimmy Stewart impersonations?
The Roman emperor would be like, I can't go either way. It's a neutral. He wins by default.
I feel like your tribunal would be a bunch of 26-year-old bitches who are like, who's Howard Cosell?
Exactly. No, that's good because you brought heart to it. More important than anything.
Right.
You brought commitment to it.
I brought a patter and a commitment to it.
I'm just hacking your head off for those weak calves. Sorry.
Listen, can I say this about calves? The overrated calf. And this is for you, Mayhem.
All right.
You want to know who has the weakest looking calves?
Ooh.
Not an athlete with the weakest looking calves, just include family members and people you encounter on the pier in Santa Monica. You want to know? You want to know how's the least of all the calves?
Who's that?
You may have heard of him. His name is John Jones.
Yeah.
His
Chicken
name
legs
is
Jones?
John Jones.
He's just pure rubber bands.
Zero calf.
Yes.
And he's going to put that shin that's attached to a zero calf right across your fucking orbital socket.
UFC heavyweight world champion.
He's a UFC heavyweight world champion. Thank you.
Fantastic athlete.
It doesn't look like it's dangerous, but it's there.
No. Black guy calves are a different thing altogether. It's like a rubber band made of titanium.
There's nothing
Some weird
there.
stuff going on there.
There's nothing there. but he'll take you out.
Yeah.
So
accurate.
That's how much a calf is. That's how important a calf is,
how
everybody.
much it's worth.
He might lure you in to focus on thinking, oh, wow, that's not much of a calf.
Yeah.
And then...
Oh, yeah.
Look at that stick figure.
Yeah. Oh, no. He walks around in gauchos.
Yeah.
Just to attract street fights.
He's a monster. Yeah, he really is.
He's a monster with zero calf muscle.
You're right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, your voices. You do Howard Cosell and what
I
else?
do Howard Cosell. I do, Richard Nixon.
Jimmy Stewart. John Wayne. All the stuff the kids
Now,
want.
Henry, we've got to do something. I know I want to do this. We've got to do something about this Adam Carolla fella.
Wait, that's Nixon. Yeah.
In Burbank.
Who are what ones do you do on stage?
Look, these days, well, I've done a lot of recently from the Planet Earth different series. Of course, the fantastic narrator of the Planet Earth.
Morgan Freeman?
No, I'm forgetting the
David Attenborough?
Yes, Sir David Attenborough.
That's good.
I'm good at trivia.
I do Attenborough, because I love that he goes off script sometimes on the Planet Earth series.
He does.
You know there's a script, but if you're watching it, you know that he has status and he can be like, let me just try something with this if you don't mind. And he'll be like, the puffins will waddle on land because they are obese. Oh, that's right. I think I'll be fat shaming the puffins a bit. There's nothing that they can do to stop me, and it's a right good bit of fun. I think that works better than what's on.
Wow, that is good. That is good. Not as good as my Howard Cosell, but it's solid. Are you, when you do VO work for like cartoons, are you making up a lot of the voices, or are you trying to?
Yeah, both. Sometimes you get something. Sometimes you audition for something, and if you can see what the character looks like, you can go like, well, it's almost like a predictive impression where you're like, this is what this guy would sound like. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there's not a picture, and you have to kind of just go off the lines or whatever. And then sometimes you're like, this character is a loser, and he's middle-aged, and he's kind of schlubby, and he's bald. I think it sounds like Paul Giamatti. And then you might,
Oh, you would just use your regular voice for that. Sorry for being a dick. No, you got all your head.
That's right. I knew I was coming in here to I'm in the hot seat.
Boom, roasted.
With Wally George.
All right, so stuff to get into. And dates, sorry for you. I gotta look around. The special's coming out.
Special
soon.
is out, streaming
Today,
on YouTube.
19th.
Path of Most Resistance.
Oh, is today the?
I don't know.
As I recall it, there it is. I did the marker myself.
Oh, it's out today, Thursday.
You can't get that font in stores.
Yes. Okay.
I like the shot of you, too. It's a little more hipstery vibe than I would expect from you. I like that.
That's it. And I got the shirt in motion.
Yeah.
I got a swoop.
Yeah.
I wanted people to see it's not just some guy in glasses. He's darting around a little bit.
He's active.
And are you going out on the road? You doing live dates?
Not much. I'm in November. I'm going to be in San Diego at Madhouse, and then in December I'm going to be at the Arlington Cinema Draft House in DC.
And where are you from?
I'm from here. I moved here when I was a kid from Georgia, from Atlanta, but I've been here since '89.
Your dad came here to work at Lockheed or something?
Close. What? Not bad. That, except if he just didn't get the job.
He came out here to work at Lockheed, but never got the job.
Moved the whole family out like the Beverly Hillbillies with everything stacked up and everything, but there was no oil, no mansion, and the dreams fell apart.
What was the plan? Why did your dad come out here?
He was from here. He was born here, so he was moving back home when he had his midlife crisis, I guess.
What was his profession?
My dad was an odd guy. He was he did many things. He was a computer coder when I was a little kid, and then he was a phone salesman, and he sold compressed air, and he sold funeral plots for a while. He got fired and he quit a lot of jobs. And
well, let's Mayhem. I don't know about your dad, but should we have a competition and see whose dad made less money?
Yeah.
Over their adult.
Listen, my dad didn't get paid a lot until they sent him to foreign lands to kill people. So it was like, he was a computer repairman. He was like the first man on the internet.
Right.
Like had to get all the shit jobs, changing truck tires, doing all kinds of Miller work, as we call it, where you have to like cart the big deuce and a half tire over across the garage and put it on a damn big ass truck. And then later on, he got upgraded from that, climbing up a radio tower to like set up the first internet. Yeah, and they're like for a pittance, not even enough to get me GI Joes. But later on, when they put a rifle in his hand and told him go blow these guys up, we got a pay bump, and I got Ninja Turtles.
Who put a rifle in his hand and told him to blow guys up?
82nd Airborne.
Okay, good thing it was authorized.
Oh, my bad. I thought you thought he joined the militia. Oh, my bad.
I don't know what they...
It's like a John Wick
I don't know how it works. All right. And so your dad had 13 jobs.
Yeah, more than that actually. And then he became a wild sort of expat guy at the end of his life, and he was around the world.
Is he like? End. I'm trying to imagine this man. Is he like really like outgoing, like you, like kind of talkative?
I mean, we lost him a couple years ago. He was we didn't get along a lot in the later years, but he was a very charismatic, funny asshole, I guess. A lot like.
Did he take care of your family?
For a while, yeah. And then he pieced out, and then pieced back in, and then pieced out again. And I miss him. He was a funny guy. He was like an embarrassment factory. Mm-hmm. There was one time in Sacramento, we were like on a trip, and he went down to check out the menu for our family to see if they could eat the dinner at this pizza restaurant, and then heard a noise and started overturning the tables like it was an incident. And it was like a Friday night, like people's pizzas sliding down onto the floor, and my dad's crawling across the floor. Get down, I said. What? And then over the counter, this guy at the Shakey's Pizza was like, "Sir, it's a dinner theater, sir." And the pizza restaurant was not a dinner theater, but he had opened an adjacent door to this adjacent dinner theater, and there was like cap guns. And then,
really?
Yep. And he overturned the whole pizza restaurant where people were screaming, pandemonium. And then I saw him stand up in a room full of like sloppy pizza on the floor, and he had to go like, "Well, what can I say? They were good actors."
Wow. So your dad was big and overt and...
Yeah. Like a cartoon of an extrovert, I guess.
Was your dad big and overt?
My dad was like all in bodybuilding. This was the 70s.
Oh, really?
And so he was like a big goon. Like like I don't even remember him as like now he's still pretty jacked.
Really?
Like weightlifting guy. Yeah.
What does calves look like?
His calves, pretty handsome.
Pretty nice calves.
Good calves. How were his voices?
His voice is subpar. He's got this voice and maybe one other. One time I asked him, "Hey, do the highest voice you can," and he went. So that's why I'm stuck like this.
I think my dad may be one of the quietest people I think I've ever met. I think my dad and my mom are like the two least talkative people ever. I really do. I really do think so. They don't.
How the hell did they birth
a big talker?
The king of mouth. I don't get it because with him I can imagine the salesman.
Okay. I was talking about Jimmy Kimmel yesterday, and everyone does this thing all the time where I go, look, Jimmy's Jimmy. Jimmy always had a motor. Jimmy was always focused. Jimmy always hit the ground running. Jimmy always whatever. It's kind of, in a weird way, it's not fair that I met Jimmy when he was 26, and I saw what guys do. When I mean guys, I mean males, like how males act when they want to try to get somewhere. And then I showed up and started hiring 26-year-old guys, and I was like, "You're not coming in Tuesday?" And they'd be like, "No, it's my half birthday." And I'd be like, "Oh, you're not Jimmy. Oh, you don't want to get anywhere." I guess it fucked me up. It kind of fucked them up because I was just used to working with Jimmy. He'd show up at the radio station at 4:30 in the morning with a pile of newspapers and stuff he cut out and have ideas and stay late and edit bits and stuff like that. And then I started hiring people, and everyone was taking half days on Fridays and not coming in on Mondays. And I was like, "Oh, you guys don't have any of this, and you're going to be screwed because you're not going to be where Jimmy's going to be because you don't have that motor. But I thought everyone just sort of had that motor. I had the motor, Jimmy had the motor, and we met each other. It was like, oh, let's go do some TV shows. Let's go do some stuff. But I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were like, well, his parents raised him right. I go, he's got a brother and a sister. They ain't that. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're fine, but they ain't that. Yeah. So what do you mean his mom and his dad? He's got a sister's a little bit older. He's got a brother's a little bit younger, and they ain't that. So we're back to John Jones' calves now. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's everyone wants to.
So you think the innate drive to succeed it's ingrained in you from DNA?
Well, my mom is the least funny person I've ever met in my life. You cannot do less funny. You could tie her. Maybe, but you couldn't do less funny than my mom. Yeah. No sense of humor, never did. And you couldn't be quieter than my mom and my dad, I would say. See, my dad has a sense of humor. He's just a very quiet person.
So that begs to ask the question, well, how the hell did you get funny as hell? Obviously, you worked at it. It's not your calves, Adam Carolla. You came up through the ranks and chopped away and figured out your skill, same as him with his voices. I think you're wrong about this, Adam. I think it's all skills that you can develop. Now, is there a top level? Yeah, maybe, yeah. Is there how good you can do the voice? How great your calves can look?
How about those calves?
I know. Maybe, yeah, but there's development involved.
Well, yeah, it's like being athletic but not knowing the sport, you know what I mean? So you have to be athletic first.
There's people are touched on an individual basis with an unusual level of some talent that might have skipped a generation or.
Well, all I have is hyper-vigilance. I just notice everything. I see everything. I notice everything, and everyone else doesn't notice it. And then I see it, and then I notice it, and then it bothers me, and then I write it down, and then it turns into a thought or a joke. But other people usually have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just coasting through life on the same highways, watching the same TV shows, living the same experiences everyone else is. I just keep noticing shit that bugs me.
So your talent is that you're fantastically annoyed by many things.
It's superpower,
my talent is noticing everything. Right. The byproduct is being annoyed by it. But then the upside is then turning it into some sort of joke or thought or book and then getting paid.
No, yeah, but if you never learned that skill, so the key to all this kind of goes into my argument that you learned how to make everything funny because your dad didn't. He probably notices everything and hates it.
I didn't learn hypervigilance. I'm stricken with hypervigilance.
I hear you. I notice.
But it prevents. But it's the exact same component that keeps me from getting into car accidents. I've never been in a car accident because of hypervigilance. So you just notice stuff, and
you see what could happen before it happens.
Yes, you will notice when people on the road are driving in a certain way or going to do something or thinking about doing something. I can always tell, and I can see it up the road a little bit.
That's a good talent.
Which prevents you from stuff. You also get a little bit of eyes in the back of your head, a little bit. Like you can see, I'm holding my hand out. I can see it peripherally, like right now, and look at you, but I can still see my hand.
This is another test. Along with calves and peripheral vision, how much you're going to crack down on a society. Can you see here?
Yeah, big time. But also, you will, you will be startled because of your hypervigilance. Like I was in my kitchen 2 days ago, and I was looking at a comedy special on a computer, sitting at the table.
Sounds like mine.
I was checking out your stand-up. And the back door was open. The door was open. The screen was shut. And there's a black bag that hung on a cabinet that goes around the refrigerator. And a wind gusted. Even though I was looking at the screen, a wind gusted, and the black bag kicked up. It was like 5 feet off on a hook. and it looked like some black dude poked his head around the corner. Like you thought someone came in the back door and John Jones poked his head around the cabinet, and I just went, oh shit. But I was looking at the screen. It's just this pop, you know.
You immediately assessed the calf muscles of the bag.
Look, if it was a white bag, I would have thought a white guy came around and poked his head around the corner, you know. But
this is a terrifying reality we're seeing a window into now.
It is. Listen, I've talked to people about it, and I talked to someone who had a kid who had hypervigilance, and I'm like, first thing first. Do not make the mistake I made. When that kid goes to bed at night, he's got to have an eye shade. He's got to have earplugs. He's got to have a white noise thing. If you have hypervigilance, you can't just fall asleep on an airplane or bus. You'll hear every clank, every movement, everything that goes on. You immediately pop up. That's what the hypervigilance is.
It would have been rough for you in the olden days.
Oh my God!
You would have come across something as simple as like a dust devil, and you would be like, "Whoa, an omen from beyond."
No, the dust devil I could figure out. It would be the rooster crowing at 5:45 every morning. You know, the blacksmith.
The gods have sent us a message.
No, it's not a weird superstitious. It's a fucking sound and light.
He just noticing the engines in the
I don't think people are possessed.
But before comedy would be in the old days, you would have had to like present yourself as a guy who was seeing
a warlock.
Yes, just because you're noticing shit.
No, I would have been the fucking sheriff. Because I would have seen. You know, I would have seen the Dalton boys coming to town and see how they're wearing their guns and see what they're. I know everyone, how they dress, how they move, how they act. I would have known who to shoot.
You're out at the spaghetti western at high noon.
Yeah,
and you're looking across and you're like, oh, that's a tumbleweed. That's a tumbleweed over there in the peripheral right now. Mm-hmm. But I'm focused right there on the trigger finger.
No, it's. I'll tell you how it manifests itself, and it manifests itself in 2,000 different ways. But I'll tell you just a quick one. And I've told people this story before, but it's a sort of an example. Like I was doing a show with John Ritter, TV pilot, many million years ago, called The Ordinary Extraordinary, and we're doing it in Orlando. And a guy, Dave Mura or something, had to do it. He was going to try a double backflip on his BMX bike as part of the indoor ramp, whatever stunt.
Indoor.
And he was practicing, you know. And I walked up to him because I was hosting the thing, but we weren't filming yet. And I'm just looking at his BMX bike. And he's going to get ready to do. He's a professional BMX rider. He's going to try the first double backflip on a BMX bike, whatever, 22 years ago or 28 years ago, whatever it was. And I just look at his bike. And I go, you got those buddy pegs sticking off the front axle and sticking off the rear axle, big aluminum knurled thing sticking out 4 inches. I go, why don't you take those off? He goes, why? I go, well, I don't know. Something happens, you know. It could get hit when one of those becomes a weapon, you know. You eat shit. He goes, I don't know. We have the buddy pegs. They're on the bike, you know. I go, yeah, I know. If I was doing a street show where I get on the handlebars and stuff, yeah, leave them on. But you're doing a double backflip. Take them off. He goes, yeah, I know. Leave me alone. He goes to practice, eats shit, and fucking buddy peg goes right in his rib cage. And I'm like, okay. I just noticed. I'm not a BMX guy. I'm not a stunt guy. I just walked over and wanted to know what was up with your bike. No one else said anything about it. They all just walked up, said good luck. I looked down and went, you should take those pegs off.
Yeah.
He didn't know, down. And he didn't notice either. I don't know why the fuck he didn't. It's just extra weight. I don't know why he didn't want to take the pegs off.
So from your angle, for decades, you've basically been doing quality control on society in general.
Yes.
You haven't listened to the show?
That won't work.
Yes.
No, it won't work.
I just walk up to people and tell. No, I listen.
You got a peg on your bike.
I have said. I've taken walks and walked through many a home that was under construction and have told people my life are being remodeled. People should pay me $5,000 just to walk through their house and tell them what's wrong with it. And I'll do that with their business, too. I'll just show up. Yeah, I did that at John Hamm's house. He just said, I'm thinking about doing a ton of shit to my house. Come over. I just came over and I just walked through his house. I told him everything to do and not to do.
You're like the pre-consultant.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll do the walk around. All right. Well, here's something. Well, this may be hypervigilance, but you guys would probably enjoyed it. May fall in the heading. Joe, I need to find the name. Who are the name of the two actors with the Whittington Brothers? So they just announced that they were making. You can put them on my screen. They just announced that they were now finally going to make this movie that I've been trying to work on get the rights to and work on for years. Somebody else got it, made it. Now, what I'm saying is hypervigilance is if you say to yourself, like, man, someone ought to invent a thing that does a thing, and then 8 years later you turn on the TV and there's a commercial for that thing, that's just you noticing it before. You know what I mean?
I do that all the time, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm trying to picture it. You know you've seen it before, and now
no, he just notices, right?
You sit around and you go, somebody so they ought to have a thing that does a thing. Someone ought to invent a thing, and then 8 years later you turn on TV.
Someone did it.
Someone did it. Right. That's how most of life works, you know. And like if you see a story about someone and you go, oh, man, that is so interesting. That would make a great documentary. Someone ought to do a doc. At some point, 10 years later, someone will do a documentary. You'll find there's a doc about that person.
Yeah, there's like a collective unconscious, or there's like a tribal need for something, I guess. Where this is a scary thing too. That kind of can motivate someone. If you don't do something, someone will come along and do it. Because there's kind of like the thought is out there. Someone else is going to think of it. Someone else is going to see it, but you might see it earlier.
Oh, listen, there's now you got to look for it, Joe. But somebody tweeted me yesterday. I think favorite tweeted me. I've been talking about pissing in the bathroom sink for as long as I've had a microphone in front of my face. I've always been a bathroom sink pisser. Everyone knows it. They all make fun of me. I go, fuck you. I'm 6'2". I'm brushing my teeth. I got some downtime here.
It's right there.
We're living in a drought zone.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Why should I go flush 5 gallons down the toilet? I'm just going to take a little leak. I've been peeing. Oh, believe you me, there are sinks with carve-outs for pissing. Now, save water, save time.
Yeah,
I've been doing this for 25. No, I've been doing it since high school probably. But there is a sink that has a knockout now for you to put your dork through and take a piss in it while you're brushing your teeth.
Someone made that?
Yeah,
someone did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not just like a joke store.
No.
Novelty item.
No.
Could be a joke, still works.
This stuff all starts off in Europe because in Europe they're more efficient pissers than we are. They're a little less uptight.
Lower
so they
water flow. We're not ashamed of our sexual organs.
Yeah. If you go to
biological processes.
You guys been to Europe? You walk around Piccadilly Circle or wherever you're walking around through Europe. You see that out in front of the pub, they have the urinal. It's just a triangle-shaped thing. There's no door. There's no lock. Everyone just turns their back
to
piss. Society and pisses. And it's much smaller. It's much easier. It's much more. We couldn't do that. We need a fucking door. Yeah, just you came out of the pub. You got to take a piss. They don't want you pissing in the alley or on the street. So you just turn your back, and you have a little cove.
Right.
They're just less uptight and more efficient. We should all be pissing in the sink because when you're brushing your teeth and you're running your water, that's where the water should go.
You could fuck that sink too, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh no, listen. There's other things you could do in that sink.
What are you talking about?
You're talking the porcelain delights?
Listen, of course. That electric massager is not just for your shoulder, my lady. That's what I got. Even though there's a picture of it on the box, but I'm saying you can put it in other places. All right. So if you have some hypervigilance, you'll think of things. And so Austin Butler and Tom Holland are now attached to a story called American Speed, which is about the Whittington Brothers, which I've been fucking talking about into a microphone for 10 years because these are the two most interesting dudes like ever, like drug runners, car racers.
Oh, okay.
80s.
That makes a movie.
Oh, yeah, wow. that it's perfect. And their story is, I mean, they got the greatest story ever, and I know all about it. Now, no one's ever going to consult me for this because that's the way Hollywood works. But these Whittington brothers, I mean, you want to hear about a story, they're drug runners selling coke in the 80s and pot in the 80s.
Great time for it.
Miami shit. You know what I mean? Late 70s, early 80s, right? They want to go racing. They have the need for speed. And they are two balls-out brothers who want to go racing. Now, racing is super expensive.
Right.
But they have all this drug money. But the only way people can go racing is by sponsorship. If you see a car with no sponsors, you're like, where's that money coming from? So they made their own fake companies. They made like a perfume company that didn't even exist and like a wine company to be sponsored
wrap
on
the
their car.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but nothing existed. But the people would not ask questions. But they did.
So much inventive energy that
That's
could
what I
go
mean.
into a legitimate industry.
Cocaine
I
is a
feel
hell of
that
a
way
drug.
with half the homeless.
Yeah.
I feel that way when I see a homeless guy or street guy,
just
and he's
creative.
backed his Winnebago up.
Yeah.
He's parallel parked a 32-foot Winnebago. He's pulled power off the power line. He's tapped into the water system. I'm like, okay, no one I know could do this. You
Right.
should definitely be working
It's a great
somewhere.
engineer.
Yes, you have ability.
We need to tap into these talents.
I mean, the stories of those guys are crazy, but the craziest story, and the reason I know it, is they went to LeMans, the biggest race in the world, and these two Whittington guys show up, and they go to the guy who owns the Porsche 935 race car, and they go, we're buying our way in to race in this race with your car. And they go, okay. So the German guy, Kremer, has the car, and then he's got his professional German driver who drives the Kremer car.
Yeah, I drive the Kramer car.
Yes.
Basically, it's a fine engineered automobile. So
Yeah, you can be the Kramer guy who owns the car, right? And you can show the 935 that won Le Mans in 79. Anyway, just so you guys know what I'm talking about. So the Whittington brothers show up and they go, how's this working? We got 3 drivers. We got a 24-hour race. And they're like, Hans Stuck or Rolf Stumlin or whoever the German guy is. This guy's been campaigning this car all through Europe. He goes first. He drives, and then he comes in, and then you guys. And they're like, yeah, well, what if he crashes or the car breaks? And the guy who owns the car is like, well, then you don't race. And he goes, no, how about we go first? And Hans Stuck goes second. And they're like, no, this guy's the driver who drives this car. And he'll go first, and he'll get the lead, and or put it on a good pace, and then he'll come in. And then they go, how much is the car? And the guy's like, this is 1979. The guy's like, $300,000. And they go, okay, wait here. And they just go into their trailer and get the race bag out and go, okay, here's $300,000 cash. Now we own the car. We go first.
Yeah.
And they fucking win the race outright. Outright. With modified cars in there. They won in a lower class. They won the race outright. It's the last time a production Porsche ever won Le Mans outright. And my car, driven by Paul Newman and Rolf Stumlin and Dick Barber, came in second to that car, which is another 935. So that's how I know the story.
Are any of these the fake companies or are those real ones?
Yeah.
No,
That's what I mean,
this
Philippe
car,
Servette.
that car was not owned by the Whittington brothers before they got to the track.
I got it, right.
So they got all their sponsorship and all their French companies and all their stuff sponsored that car, and then the Whittington brothers bought it.
How'd the story end, though? Is it a bad one? Like, did they finally get found out for all that drug running?
The Whittingtons won Le Mans outright as that's Newman standing with the Whittington brothers
there
at
he
Le
is.
Mans.
I knew I
in
recognized
79.
Beautiful
Yeah.
man.
They won Le Mans outright, which is an insane thing. And again, there's all the modified class who's ahead of them, and they beat all those guys because it rained and those cars broke and whatever for whatever reason. So now they're the guys who won Le Mans outright. Then they come back to the United States, and they tell that guy Kremer, "Hey, we'd like a couple more of those 935s," and they buy a couple more, and they just start racing them and cheating. They're cheating with the cars as well.
What you mean?
So I know the guy who has the car. His name is Bruce Meyer, who owns the 935 that won Le Mans. And he showed me when they were restoring the car that they found a secret compartment in one of the frame rails where the Whittingtons welded in a bottle of nitrous.
Yeah.
And that's illegal.
Yeah.
And the bottle of nitrous is not gonna be any good for you on a endurance race, like a 24-hour race, 6 hours, 12 hours of Sebring, 24 hours of Daytona, 24 hours of Le Mans. Ain't going to be any good to you, but it will be good for you is during qualifying. So you qualify, which is like 3 laps, and you hit the nitrous bottle on the hidden switch, and you put it on the pole for the race. That's where it helps. But Nate's in there because we've been trying to get these guys. We've been trying to make a movie out of these guys for a long time.
He's pissed.
But look, whenever you have a really good idea, whether it's a widget or an idea for a movie, somebody's going to come up. Someone's going to do it eventually. Why? What'd you find out, Nate?
We pitched this to Michael Mann. You sat in the office with me. He loved it. We did a whole deck on this. I know the brothers. I had the rights from one of the brothers. One of them died while we were trying to film this. He died in an airplane crash.
Damn.
Yeah, we've been trying to make this for probably a decade, Adam.
Yeah.
It's been a decade.
Yeah.
And no one would listen, and now these motherfuckers are making it. I want to kill somebody.
Get Austin Butler and Tom Holland to attach, and you can make whatever you want.
It's being produced now.
Somebody just texted me. They're making the movie you've been talking about making for 10 years.
Wow.
So that'll be that. They'll have to make.
Let's send Mayhem over to their office to talk to him.
But I'm ready to burn down Netflix.
Yeah.
Send Mayhem over there.
They swept in and stole. They bought the car out from under you, like the brothers,
just like the Whittingtons.
Yeah, the Whittingtons. The car ended up in the Indy Museum, and then somebody got hold of it, and then the Whittingtons had a whole lawsuit saying it was their car. They didn't donate it to the museum. They just let them borrow it. The Whittingtons ended up getting busted, drugs, prison. I mean, the whole, yeah.
Adam, tell them the story of how they bought the car at Le Mans.
I did. I did when you were in your other office. But, there's a whole thing that went along with that car. So then, listen, it's the last production-based car to ever win Le Mans. Those of you who know nothing about cars, what I'm saying to you is it's production-based. It started life in a Porsche factory as a Porsche 911, and then it got heavily modified. The cars that win Le Mans now are rocket ships that are bespoke, that have nothing to do with any production, anything. It doesn't matter if it's Audi or Toyota. These things look like single-seat rocket ships. So another production-based car will never win Le Mans outright ever again. It's never going to happen. It's impossible that it happened. The first 20 cars are all the unlimited class, and then a Corvette will come across the line. So this car is worth $10 million.
$10 million.
They gave it away to the Indy Museum and said, "You take it. We're going to jail." And we got a picture of the Super Ferrari car, except for it's a picture where there's a bunch of people laying on it and a flag. So it's a little hard to tell the
you can tell the difference, bud.
Yeah, but I bet there's a picture without 4 people laying on it that we could.
That guy was posed like a child's toy, like the way you would pose a G.I. Joe.
He was adorable.
Might be a more effective example of what we're talking about here. But so
there we go.
There you go. So there's no production based anything. So all right, they got left at the Indy Museum. They went to claim it because they knew it was getting valuable several, this is a lot of years ago, but it's still worth $2 million. And then there's a big lawsuit, and the museum kept it. They said, you donated it to us. You can't have it back. They got out of prison and were like, oh, that car we donated, we'd like it back now because it's worth $2 million. Indy kept it. And then a good friend of mine named Bruce went over to the Indy Museum like 8 years ago and said, I got the first Indy car that won at Indianapolis 500, or one of the first cars there. Wouldn't you rather have that car in your museum than the Whittington Brothers Porsche? And they're like, yeah, all right. And they traded. And then this guy got the car, and then this guy had the car rebuilt, and then this guy took it out to Laguna Seca for a run day that I was at with one of my Paul Newman cars, and he was getting ready to take it on the track for the first time in 20 years after being rebuilt for $500,000 and everything. And a whole bunch of dudes showed up in a flatbed with DEA windbreakers on and federal marshals and squad cars, and they all pulled up and they said, we're seizing this car. It's an asset. It's a Whittington Brothers. They owe all the money and whatever. And all these guys showed up and they loaded it up onto a flatbed and they took off.
What?
And everyone just stood there with their
But that's
jaw
like
hanging
the
open.
philosophical question of like the ship, like how many boards you replace before it's a different ship.
That's Houdini's wand.
Yeah,
when you do the tip and the base and the shaft, is it still? No, but this is not that. This is the Whittington Brothers car.
Yeah. Damn.
And the DEA picked it up, put on a flatbed,
scooped it,
and took off.
It was safe when it was in the museum. They only swooped in when it was traded out.
That? Yeah.
Because this entire thing was a prank pulled by a rich white dude who was a friend of the guy who bought the car, who hired actors to pull up in a flatbed and dress in windbreakers.
Brilliant.
And fuck that this guy's head.
Content, baby. Making content.
There's film of it.
No,
this wasn't
it right
you
here,
doing
I
it?
guess.
I was there. It's like federal marshal guys getting out of a black SUV, walking over, want to know whose car it is. There's a Whittington car, pulling a flatbed trailer up, loading it up, and taking it away.
How is this not impersonating a police officer? It's like seems like it's a prank. It's a prank, bro. It's a prank until like the real cartel comes shoot these guys.
Yeah, well, it's in Monterey.
Oh.
It's not a gang infested
I didn't think
region. Not a lot of.
Also, they're not pulling over people on the actual highway.
And we're actually in the infield, and the guy who owns the car, Bruce Meyer, standing there, and the DEA is loading it up and going to take it on a flatbed and take it away. Now, luckily, the guy who owns the car likes the car so much that he followed the flatbed when they left. He just got in his car and was like, I'm going to keep following you guys. And I don't think the guys in the flatbed knew where they were going. They just had to leave the track and, pretend like they were going to an impound lot, but they didn't have an impound lot.
That was the end of the prank.
That was the end of the prank, was them leaving in their car and their flatbed. But they had badges and windbreakers. I mean, somebody had to put this whole thing together, right?
Because they're not overly macho. They're the right people where they're like, oh, we're gonna have to intervene here, sir.
They look like they know how to do paperwork, but also how to shoot a gun. Yeah, I get it.
All right. Good casting. It's getting loaded into flatbed. They are not stopping this prank. It got loaded up and it got taken away, and everyone gathered. I was there. I was at the track. I was racing a Newman car.
You guys need like one experienced criminal friend out there, because I would have been like, hey man, where's your warrant? First of all, show me your warrant. And then, and after that,
Mayhem's a 3-time loser,
that's
man.
right, but I would be like right
down.
in your face. Yeah, I'd be like right in the cop's face, like, hey, I didn't do nothing illegal. Don't check my probation status, but get the hell out of here.
Show me the papers.
Yeah. Show me your papers.
The name is Klaus Ludwig. That was the German guy who drove the car.
Yeah, of course, Klaus Ludwig.
Yeah, and you saw Don and Bill Whittington written on the car too. They put on a flatbed and they took it.
They took it to nowhere, though, to the shopping mall across the street to Starbucks.
I don't think...
What the hell kind of plan was that?
I think this is the difference between men and women, right? No woman would ever do this. Would any woman ever do a prank like this that took so much time and cost so much money?
No.
You got the DEA guy talking to Bruce, the owner of the car, going, sorry, bud.
Bruce looks sad.
And they just took it off the track. All right.
They just circled back, though. What was the end of this, Ace? I don't get it.
Bruce, the guy who owns the car, got in his personal street car and just followed him. And I think at a certain point, they're like, I don't know how much longer we can keep the ruse going because there isn't an impound lot or we don't know where to take the car.
Also, it looked like his street car didn't have a license plate on the back, which is another layer of complication.
No, the street car that was following the car was the unmarked Fed car.
Yeah.
Bruce does not get in a fucking Dodge.
Yeah, Dodge Charger.
Strip Dodge Charger and drive around. He got something a little higher end than that for the track. All right, let's take a break. We're going to do some news.
I got plenty for you.
Plenty of news? All right. James going to hang in with the news?
Yeah, let's do the news.
We'll do that right after this.
I do love 70s album rock, though. I love David Bowie. I love that song. Yes, I love Space Oddity. That's the one where he's like, ground control to Major Tom, which is the best evidence for why the British space program never took off. If you listen to the lyrics, they get a stoner into outer space and everything goes wrong from there. He's like, I'm floating in a most peculiar way. We knew that from the mathematical models alone. And then he's lost in space and he dies floating in space. I want to see the guy who had to report to the Queen on that one. Your Majesty, perhaps it was a mistake to send a glam rocker into Earth's orbit. In full stage makeup with psilocybin mushrooms and an acoustic guitar. The only scientific observations yielded from the mission are that planet Earth is blue, and I'll quote, there's nothing I can do. Thank you.
James Adomian is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Website, James Adomian. It's basically phonetic, ADOMIAN.com for dates, and the YouTube special you should check out as well, Path of Most Resistance. Mayhem, you got some news?
Yeah, but here's the news. Sean P. Diddy Combs arrested in New York City hotel by Homeland Security in a sex trafficking probe.
Did you guys feel like in the last 15 minutes of being on the planet, everything is now on the table? Like people go, oh yeah, this shit's been going on for a while now, you know. And then you're like, it is? Oh yeah, no. I mean, I think COVID got me on that one where I was like, oh, everyone's just lying about everything. This is, oh yeah, that's how it works. The CDC and like everyone just lies.
Yeah.
And all this stuff exists, and there's all this stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, people knew what Weinstein was up to for a long time, but believe me, these guys have. And then you start getting into Epstein,
right?
Yeah.
So does Epstein just have film of everybody, and does P. Diddy just have film of everybody, and that's how he controls everything? Like, and I have no idea how this works.
But this just happened, and it was a sting. It was a bust from the Homeland Security. Is there any possibility that it was a prank? With
could have been
playing Homeland Security.
My buddy Bruce. Yeah,
he followed him all the way to jail, and they just kept circling
around. They just
around.
came circling the jail.
I read that they. I swear to God, I read a tweet. It said they found, 1,000 rounds of ammunition, an AK-47, and 60 crates of baby oil. Like it was like they had to get the baby oil in there. I don't know what they were doing with that.
I want to see the picture where that's laid out next to the AK-47s
Yes.
on the evidence table.
Yeah.
Well, this is how big time P. Diddy is that he went, like they told him about this. It wasn't like they went and snatched him up off the street. They told him he was going to be arrested. So he flew from over here to Manhattan to get ready to get busted. And I guess we got some footage of it. I mean, this is the day and age we live in. It's a drone camera. I think we have that drone footage of him being taken
that
into
drone
custody.
footage is actually from his L.A. arrest, so we don't have New York because it was in New York City.
So he was arrested in custody, then flown to New York.
No.
Opposite.
He came to New York because he was going to be arrested in New York.
Did he fly out of like Santa Monica or Van Nuys when you're having an event like that?
Yeah, he's
He's a Spirit Air guy. I gotta say this. Listen, speaking of flying, I'm gonna say the same thing to P. Diddy that I said to Weinstein 6 years ago. Find a country that doesn't have an extradition treaty with us, fuel up the jet, and hit the bricks. Take the baby oil and the AK-47 and all the cash you can put in a duffel bag and leave. This isn't going to work out. Weinstein should have done it. Weinstein should have done what Roman Polanski did.
There's guys
Just
that
left.
do that and get away with it.
Roman Polanski is getting
yeah.
Academy Awards
Right.
from Paris
Yeah, they all forgot
for
about
the last 50 years.
Right.
He's celebrated here. Hey, can I tell you guys a move I'd like to do?
Please.
You guys tell me if you like this move.
All right.
You know, I just noticed it. You'll notice it when you watch the Emmys, but with the Oscars too, where you get nominated in a category, right? If I ever get nominated in a category for an Emmy, I'm going to the Emmys. But instead of that shot where they do the boxes where they show the person sitting in their seat, I want a still shot that looks like I'm not there. They do like Woody Allen. It's just a picture of Woody Allen because he's never there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's always somebody missing. Larry David, nominated, but he's giving him the hi-hat. He's not there. He's fucking 4 miles away, by the way.
So you would be lurking in the back of the room?
Just hear me out. When they go to the box with the 6 nominees, just like they did with Larry David, there's just going to be a picture of me. Probably black and white. I don't know why, but they do that. You know what I mean? It's going to be a picture of me. And then people think, well, Adam's obviously too good or too busy or too successful or too into his art. You know, like Larry David, this is nonsense to Larry David, right? Larry David is not out of town. He's not shooting a movie in Vancouver. Larry David is 6 to 8 miles away from the actual facility, sitting on a sofa, most likely watching it.
Yes.
But he's giving him the fucking hi-hat. So here's my thing. I have just the picture of me, right? Now, I look too cool for school. I didn't even bother showing up to the Emmy Awards. I got that part. Number 2, when somebody else wins, none of the shots where I look pissed off or, you know, that shot
You
where
get no reactions.
No reactions.
Memes.
They pick the reaction. They pick apart the reaction. Oh, they didn't cheer too hard, or they cheered enough or not enough, or look at her. Look at Selena Gomez looking disappointed. You know what I mean? They freeze. No memes. Memeless.
You're meme proof.
Meme proof because it's a fucking headshot from 19 years ago of me just sitting there. But here's the deal. If I do win, I surprise everyone by walking up on the stage. Mind's blown.
They're playing
Mind's blown. Would that be the best?
Yeah. Undoubtedly.
You might it works until it becomes an arms race, and if your competitors get wind of this, everyone was going to have still images, so you'll have 6 still images.
And then
on
you got to compete with. You got to find the best photographer, best black and white.
I'm grandfathered in. I'm like the last guy in the NHL who doesn't have to wear a helmet.
Yep.
It's 1982. I showed up in the league in '69 with the Oilers, and I still don't have to wear a fucking helmet. But all you rookies better helmet up, bitches. That's me. I'm grandfathered in. I came up with the idea of the picture.
All right, he's got the idea for the picture. No one else better remember that.
Good. Well, that puts a cap on that sex predator. Yeah, P. Diddy's in jail.
You might be giving it away, just like the car race movie, though.
Oh,
the more you're talking
Whittington.
about it. Yeah.
Oof. He just did it. Damn.
That's the problem.
Somebody's going to jump on this.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, my other picture idea that I always wanted to do this one. I always wanted to do this one. And it still can be done. You know, obviously we've established I like a prank, you know, what with the Whittington brother car being confiscated, Laguna Seca, right?
Yeah.
I've worked a few Oscars. I've written on a few Oscars. And when you write on the Oscars, you go out on stage and you hang out, you sit in the audience while they're doing the monologue and, you know, stuff like that. And for probably 4 or 5 days before the Oscars, all the seats in the front have the pictures of the celebrities' heads that are going to be there. You know,
Right.
And so at some point, because inevitably you're going to go, Denzel Washington's here. You need to know where the fuck Denzel Washington is.
Right.
And it's like it's a little more than a headshot. It's like a little bit of a cutout, head busting, and they just kind of double stick it to the seat they're in.
On like high quality cardboard.
Yeah. But weirdly, all in black and white, which I'm like, I was there. Like, you guys can't afford a color printer?
Yeah.
Like, it's 2019, and we're at the fucking Oscars. Like, you don't have a color printer back there? But anyway, so you're making a joke, and there's Jodie Foster over there, and there's Denzel Washington over there, and that's where they live. And people get used to it. And they come out on stage, and they do their presentation. They practice. They do their dress rehearsal and their walkthroughs, and everyone comes up on stage, and they see when they look out all the audience, and who all the big celebs. It's always the first like 5 rows. They're just dripping with A-listers. I had this idea that I wanted to sneak in a cutout headshot of Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein and just clip them to one of the chairs up front and just walk away and just see how long they would live there. Like how long before presenter who came out.
Get Vladimir Putin.
Yeah. I don't want to gild the lily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Too much.
I don't want to get made.
I want Miss Piggy on there.
I'm going to take Bill and Harvey, and I'd spread them out. Like put like 4 seats in between them.
Together?
Yeah, and put them next to some other A-listers and see how long before one of the presenters who got hit hard by one of these guys, who got Harvey, who got him in some hotel room 11 years ago, comes out, just looks down and starts crying at a certain point in the middle of the presentation.
PTSD prank.
I just thought it'd be funny. That's all. But how long do you think those heads could live there?
Yeah, 6 minutes.
You don't
7.
think?
I think somebody.
I think they could live there for a while.
I don't know, man. Weinstein had a
First off, I don't think anyone's even really looking at them. They just need to know that if you're making a joke about Brad Pitt, you just need to know, look stage left, he's front row, stage left. Like you just, that's all you need as a host. Where is the guy I'm making a joke about? If you're not making a Bill Cosby joke, then you don't really need to know where Bill Cosby is.
Eye line, very important in a scenario like that. Where's Brad? Interior eye versus the exterior eye and all that.
Yeah.
You got to get the eye line.
Well, if you have hypervigilance, you can see
You've already seen that.
You've already seen them.
Hey, Chipotle adds automation. A Autocado robot helps make.
Oh, Autocado.
Yeah, little pun there for you. Robot. It helps them make guacamole. Thank God we got some footage of that because I think you guys need to see this thing.
They're
action.
dumping a whole bunch of Haas avocados into a machine that is slicing and dicing. Look, everyone, you're fucked. And all it did was it halved them and shelled them, right?
There's a guy that's doing the...
So it's not making guacamole.
It's definitely not.
It's peeling them. Every story is full of shit because every story is like there's a whole automated robot that is making guacamole, and you're picturing the robot from the Jetsons. Like making guacamole, like the future's here.
Mr. J.
Yeah, but bing, bing. But we're not picturing what looks like a stainless steel washing machine just removing the skin. Listen, can I? Okay. Joe, at the motherfucking Gelson's in North Hollywood, California in 1975, they had a fresh orange juice machine, which literally just had a hopper of oranges and basically a flume, and it cut them in half and wrung them out and then spit out the rind. And in 1975, not the Carollas. We did frozen concentrate and fucking tap water because it was a nickel cheaper. There's no way someone was going to pay $4 for orange juice. But you could get fresh squeezed orange juice made on the spot with no human interference at the Gelson's in North Hollywood in 1975. This is less technology than the fresh orange juice because at least it squeezed the oranges for you, and it literally just dripped into the container, and after about 18 oranges, you would have a quart of orange juice.
Yeah, that is kind of disappointing, and they get away with it by going like, well, no, it's AI. It's artificial intelligence.
The robot, we're fast and loose with the robot. You know what I mean? Like grew up thinking a robot was humanoid. And when they say robot, they're talking about a Roomba. You know what I mean? You're like, that's not what we're thinking of when we think robot.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a robot vacuum cleaner. Yeah, it's a vacuum cleaner without a bitch pushing it.
And there's no consequence. There's no terrible consequences if the Roomba turns on you or something.
We need consequence.
Yeah, we need consequence. If the robot turns bad, you need to be like, oh God, what a metaphor for our times. An evil Roomba is just gonna like tear up the carpet, probably.
It's got to be apocalyptic. Yes. There needs to be consequence. Yeah, the fucking avocado machine's not going to turn on us. And if it did, it'd be the best day of your life. All that guac.
This is that Chipotle, so I just want to see the robot that cleans up the diarrhea.
I can read your order, Dave. I see that you ordered no guacamole, Dave.
That's going to be what guacamole. We want. That's what we want.
I'm sorry, Dave, but it costs $1.99 for guac.
And then
it's not the salsa rojo. It's the salsa verde, Dave.
If nobody ordered guacamole, my job would be eliminated. Dave.
Chipotle. He has to disconnect it.
Don't try to unplug me, Dave. I'm hardwired.
I'm hardwired to create avocados.
I'm sorry, Dave. You can't do that.
Toppings.
It cuts the avocado in half. Fine. Knocks the pit out.
Yep.
And then shells it.
And then minimum wage employee has to mash it with a giant masher.
Right. But be prepared because there's this. There's kiosks now. There's Flippy, the thing that flips the burgers. So listen, all you need to know about bad governing is from the Chipotle and from Flippy and from kiosks. Gavin Newsom says we're going to raise the minimum wage to $20. The businesses go, we can't afford to pay our employees $20 an hour. And he goes, yes, you can. Don't worry about it. And next thing you know, Flippy shows up, the kiosk shows up, the guac robot shows up, people start getting their hours cut back, they're not working full time anymore, and your little utopia that you tried to create with your $20 an hour is completely out the fucking window. That's how it works.
I think I disagree. I think you can have a world where you are paying people a lot and you just simply have a law like with the old elevator operators, where if you're going to have some robot, there's got to be some guy doing it. And if you can't, we can't afford it, somebody else is going to come in and do the business.
Man, that sounds like it's the free market, son.
No, it's not. They won't. You're saying you need a law.
Yeah, no law, bud. You need a subsidy for...
No one's going to open a fast food place in California.
Someone will come in and feed the people because there's a huge demand.
Yeah, but
someone's always going to make food.
They're going to keep their operating costs as low as they possibly can.
Well, you have more mom and pop restaurants then with the.
They're going to keep. Everyone's going to keep their costs as low as they can keep their margins.
I think people like doing business with real human beings.
You and I are used to it, but my kid's not going to give a fuck who they're talking
like
to.
Amazon, and they just like the robot to
it's like you
stuff.
And I go, I like the way a dollar bill feels in my hand. I like to pay someone with cash, but not my kids. They're Apple Pay.
Yeah, the way the wind's blowing, bud. I know. We're all here, old fogies.
So the little basket guys with cute eyes, the little robots that deliver things around, and they go, beep, beep, I'm stealing jobs. I'm here to replace a guy.
Well, look,
we empathize with them now.
It already happened. Again, I think it was Pizza Hut and a bunch of other chains laid off a bunch of employees and cut people back to halftime. It's not part-time. It's not going to work. You can't legislate it.
But there's a combination of the market and law. And like people like places where there's people. And if they're being paid a little bit more, people do pay more all the time for a good experience.
Yeah, but the company cuts employees and then cuts time. The company wants to make as much money as they can. They don't really care about the people.
We're talking about scaled up business like Chipotle or McDonald's and whatnot. Those like run at thin margins, and anything they could do to squeeze a little extra.
I get they do, which is like, I think you got to be careful letting these giant places in the first place because they have a chokehold on your community.
Yeah, but the cat's out the bag.
What chokehold? There's like 30 of them. I mean, you can go across the street if you're not wanting to Chipotle.
But I mean, the same business model. And I mean, I always try to favor places that are family run or have happy human employees, and you can kind of clock that. Like, are these people being taken care of?
There's always going to be people who do that, but most people are going for the bargain, and that's the problem. It's fast food, you know what I mean? It's like people aren't trying to make a statement. It's just people with not a lot of money trying to get food.
I'm not sure if fast food is going to last. I think that might fall apart, and food might get a lot slower as we move into the future.
Well, they're going to have a lot less employees. That's the way it's going to work. That's sorry.
Isn't In-N-Out an example of a model that works? It's like fast food. It's the best fast food, and their employees are all happy and well paid, and it's worlds better than McDonald's.
They're young people too, and they're well paid there. They are. They're known to be for years. They take care of their people.
See, but there's like a ceiling though, because it's like fresh food and like I don't know. It's like a better quality burger.
I like In-N-Out. There is such a thing as companies that like are more responsible and do things of that nature that are out there. But you can't legislate it. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to be able to fix it. Or, look, if somebody was running for mayor here and she just said minimum wage should be $50 an hour. And I'm like, all right, well, now, in your world, isn't that better?
Okay. The wages aren't keeping up with the inflation. And so nobody's talking about that.
Well, she said $50 an hour.
Right. Well,
what would you be for that?
I'm not a policy expert. I would be.
Well,
I'm in favor
of 20 an hour.
I think what I'm in favor of is like a CEO of a company can't make more than a certain multiple of the lowest paid employee or the median employee. I think nobody should be able to no one should be able to own a company and be like a bank robber. Like I made 50 times more than the median person working at my company.
They're not robbing anyone. They've agreed to this, or somebody's agreed to it.
I get it, but when sometimes voluntary things look like it has the same effect as a robbery. I mean, the fine print doesn't sway me that much.
I just think you're heading down a slippery road here if you want to start legislating.
The boiling frog scenario.
Yeah,
they're coming for high wages.
No, I just think there's a lot of downside, and the companies always figure it out. That's the problem. They're smarter than the governors. All right. What else?
Man, next up, a passenger ordered to pay thousands of dollars in fuel costs after bad behavior diverts a flight. An Australian man has been charged thousands of dollars.
Oh, it's so weird. Whenever I hear good ideas, I sometimes think, oh, that's us, but no, Australian. In Australia?
Yeah, in Australia. 33-year-old man who was not identified was on a flight from Perth to Sydney on September 25th when he started misbehaving. The Australian Federal Police said in a news release, the police didn't specify how he was disrupting the flight, but said his behavior caused the flight to return to Perth.
And they wanted to pay for the Jet A.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Well, the pilot had to dump fuel before landing because the rest of the passengers recommended on a later flight. The man was arrested.
All right, you should listen. You should be, if you get out of control in the flight, you should then pay for whatever the fuel took to divert.
9,000 Australian dollars.
9,000 Australian dollars,
which is about $6.
Listen, everybody who gets on a flight should have to pay for their own fucking fuel. Fat people should pay more than Ariana Grande. Lizzo needs to pay more than Ariana Grande on a commercial flight. That's how it works.
You would have the most miserable, humiliating airline.
I know. It'd be awesome. I'd call it Pull Your Weight Airlines. No, I wouldn't. You want to know why? Because skinny people would fucking fly almost for free. So for every miserable fat guy, there'd be a super happy skinny person.
So, this is like a nightmarish dystopia, but you have a big smile on your face about it.
Well, look, here's what's happening. It's all weight on airplanes.
Right.
You want to fly with a bag that's over 50 pounds, you got to pay. It's all weight and Jet A fuel. And the more weight, the more Jet A you burn, right? So thin people are subsidizing fat people who fly. That's how it works. You're paying for your weight. It's your weight that is. Look, you want to ship. Okay, let's just say. Well, let's forget about airlines.
Now we're on a ship.
No. Let's say I say to you, James, I want to ship Lizzo. I want to ship Lizzo to Muncie, Indiana.
In a
right?
box.
There's
I
already-
want to ship Lizzo.
Yeah.
Listen, you and your utopian, dystopian, socialist mind frame. Now listen to me.
First of all,
I want to ship.
What are you,
Listen to me.
Garfield? You're shipping people?
Listen to me.
You're like shipping Nermal
All
in
right,
a box.
all right. You know what? I'm going to make it palatable for you, son. I'm going to weigh Lizzo. Okay? Not new Lizzo, who's dropped 80 pounds.
Sure.
No.
The reference point. You
It's
have.
like
Reference point Lizzo. I'm going to weigh reference point Lizzo, right? And let's, for the sake of argument, maybe we'll round up, but we'll just say 300 pounds. Okay? Yes?
Okay. Yeah.
Or you can pick a
Ballpark
number.
for me.
You in 250?
I've seen her probably
Split the difference.
that big.
275.
Let's just go 300 for the sake of this experiment. I will weigh Lizzo, right? And then
Feeling good as hell.
I will say, look, I'm not an animal. I'm not going to ship Lizzo to Muncie, Indiana. But I do need to ship 300 pounds worth of coconuts to Muncie, Indiana. I go, okay. Now I'm going to weigh Ariana Grande. For the sake of argument. 100 pounds?
On 112.
120.
Yeah, I know. But let's if you go 113 and a half, it fucks my
The
thing.
economics professor has his
I
chart on
rounded
the
up
whiteboard.
a little for Liz. Lizzo's probably coming in 182 or 282. I rounded up. We got 300, and we got Ariana Grande to 100, right?
Yeah.
Now I then say to you, James, I am going to ship the same amount, 100 pounds now, of coconuts to Muncie, Indiana.
Okay.
And then FedEx shows up. And they go, we are going to do the shipping. And then they are going to say it's going to cost $500 to do Lizzo, and it's going to cost $150 to do Ariana Grande, and James is going to be outraged.
No, this is not a major issue to me.
You're going to be mad, and then the FedEx guy's going to go, this amount of coconuts weighs so much more that it cost us that much more to physically move it to Muncie, Indiana, to truck it to Muncie, Indiana, versus the 100 pounds worth of Ariana Grande is going to cost this much, and your argument is it should be the same.
You're leaving something out. The coconuts are not going to buy concessions during the travel time. You're
These
forgetting.
coconuts.
You're going to sell more concessions with the bigger passenger.
What is wrong with that analogy?
No, just for the record, I totally disagree with the objectification of coconuts.
Yes. One weighs more, thus costs more to move this distance, and the other weighs less. Why
You ain't
should
wrong.
the Lizzo coconut? Why should we
coconuts.
subsidize Lizzo's coconuts?
Because the bigger passenger is going to be having more drinks, more food, 3 meals. They're
I don't
gonna
know
buy
about that.
They're going to buy the whole menu. That's what I'm telling you.
That's $25, and
Yeah,
now
that's where they make their money. That's
Listen,
as you would say,
everybody
you would say that's the whale.
and
That's
their
the big
luggage.
customer.
Everyone should be weighed, and their luggage should be weighed all in one fell swoop, and it should be priced accordingly. And it would incentivize Lizzo to drop a few lbs.
I'll be cutting weight
I love
on the
that
way
you-
out there to Spirit Airlines.
I love that. How do you have her long enough to mistreat her for so long without her family? Her manager starts
Lizzo?
calling. Where is she? She didn't show up.
Oh, hold on. This is a hypothetical. I don't have any contact with Lizzo. I'm saying her as a sort of a metaphor for
Sure.
commercial airline flights. That's how everything should work.
Feeling good as hell.
I don't. By the way, I'm 200 pounds. I would be above the median. There's a decent. Me and Mike August travel around. We're both 200 pounds plus. There's a good chance that our ticket would go up 4% or whatever because we're above the median when you include women, because you have to include women. You love women, right?
Sure.
Give them a break.
Yeah.
Then why do you want this? Because the average woman's 143 pounds, the average guy's 192 pounds. So women would fly for 18 or 20% cheaper than men. Are you for that?
All you have to do is sit through like a dystopian police state weighing line.
Yes, that's right.
And
Weigh 'em in.
everybody's like cattle boarding some kind of shipping car.
Hey, look.
Listen. You just stood in line in front of a fucking X-ray machine and were told to
Yeah.
take your shoes and belt off
true.
before you went through the
So
X-ray
why not
machine. You
make
don't
it-
think you could step on a scale?
Right. Well, why not make it one step
We're
worse?
already there.
Yeah.
Aren't we there?
We would need you on the screen as the people are walking through the line. Move forward, and you're rationalizing it the whole time.
No. Listen, you go to Southwest, you go to Burbank, right?
Yeah.
You check a bag, right?
Classic, easy
What do they do
experience.
with the bag when you check
They
it?
throw it around. They put it in the bottom of the thing.
Before you check it, when you hand it to them, do you think you just
They
hand
weigh
it
it.
to
No,
them?
I get it. They weigh it.
What do they
Yeah.
do?
If it's over 50 pounds.
Where's the scale?
It's right down.
Why don't you just step onto it?
It's
Step
already
up.
built
You're
for
there.
this.
You're
Step
already
on-
there.
Step on the scale, please, sir.
You just threw your fucking bag on the scale. Why not just get on it with your bag?
You're entering a world like an athletic event
That's
where
right.
people are going to have They're going to be cheating.
That's right.
They're going to have weights in their underwear that they take out and stuff.
No, I'll coach you how to get. I'll coach you how to get down the weight.
So everyone needs an
not
airline
gonna
coach
dignify-
now.
There's weights in their underwear they're going to take out.
There's all the tricks and stuff people are going to try. Or I was thinking of when you were trying to make weight. Actually,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We could put
You
you in
can
the
cut as
sauna with
much
a rubber
weight as you
suit.
want.
Exactly. Yeah.
If I was with my fucking lady the night before and she's like, I'm in the mood for lasagna, I'd be like, we're flying out early. It's carrot sticks, bitch, and no ranch.
No hydration.
Yeah.
Suck weight. Yeah.
Get the
Abilene. We'll put it
cream on,
Abilene. Yeah,
garbage
we're going
bag,
sit
hit
ups
the
in the
treadmill,
sauna. Sit-ups in the sauna.
Their ad campaigns for Southwest are going to be Southwest. We're going to really make you hate yourself.
Yeah.
Fly with
Well,
us.
listen, it is what it is. Right now, you are getting subsidized for flights because you'd be on the bigger side.
Yeah, but
Ariana
I
Grande
stand up.
fucking subsidizing you.
I entertain people. That's what you're not.
You're working in concessions and underwear weights. You're all over the fucking road. It's just you pay what it costs to move you. What is wrong with that?
And lift your pant legs and let's see those
What is
calves.
wrong with just how much it costs to move you?
I'm smuggling also. I have nitrous tanks under my seat.
That's right.
I'm saying it'll be. Look, you probably are a champion for women's rights. It's going to be great for women.
I can't believe the passion
It's going to be a
in which you
break
have
for women.
You know
this
what?
subject.
Joe, how much heavier are you than your fiance?
About 80 pounds.
She's subsidizing your flights.
I honestly, when you started, I hated this, and now you've got me coming around because this also fixed the wage gap issue, right? So
Yeah, because
many,
women
so
be like,
many.
oh, we got a wage gap. And I'd be like, well, you get a break on your car insurance, you live 7 years longer, and your Southwest flight is $14 cheaper than mine. So shut up. I could come back at that.
Southwest, bags fly free, saddlebags pay extra.
That's right. And everyone just weighs in. Also, keep people on the straight and narrow, too. You know what I mean? Stop them from overeating. Stop them from overdoing the guac at the Chipotle. I don't see how you can find fault in this. You're just paying for what it costs to move you. What is the difference between this and a FedEx box?
I mean, do it. Sure, do it. But your airline's not going to do well because people travel together. People have friends. And
you don't think
loved
every
ones.
122-pound chick would fly this airline?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so you're gonna get people scamming the system, but I think
No, what do you mean scamming? You're paying for what you weigh. You're not scamming
okay,
the
they'll
system.
be gaming it. They'll be gaming.
They're
it.
not
They'll-
gaming it. It's what are you gaming the system when you ship something with Southwest and they weigh it?
What shipping it with Southwest? Like,
Or you ship it with
forwarding
FedEx. You ship it with FedEx and they weigh it. Are you gaming the system when you ship something lighter?
You're aware of where it might make sense and might not. How fast? Maybe you don't need to ship something that heavy.
But
Is there
you're
a way to
shipping a bowling ball versus popcorn. Are you gaming the system when you ship popcorn?
But you might not use it if they're charging you in a way that you don't like. You go,
Hyper-vigilance.
I don't think you got anything here, James. I think you got to cut bait. Like you fucking give up the ghost like Joe did.
I don't think your airline
Gaming the
wins.
system.
You
If
know-
a woman is not gaming the system, she's getting gouged now for subsidizing our fat asses.
We've also balanced it. Men, I bet you if you take this typical male weight and his small bag and the giant luggage of a woman, and
Yes.
I bet you it balances out
my
again.
God.
Joe's on to something else.
I hated
Every
this when
woman
you
I
started.
travel
You-
with
you sold me.
travels like we're going to fucking do The Apprentice for 19 weeks in New York City. I'm like, we're going for 2 days. We're going to be 2 days. I need another jumpsuit.
Oh, this
like,
hits
it'll
home.
stop women from overpacking. It'll put the good-looking, skinny people on the flight. Dudes will be trying to cut weight to get on the flight with all the skinny hotties.
my
Trying to
God.
pick it up. It's going to be great.
I think-
it'll be good for snacks. They'll sell healthy snacks. No more Fiesta Mix. Not on the Fit flight. We got a flight home. We got to
Fit
be waiting.
Flight.
Fit flight.
Hell
Got
yeah.
the name. It's good.
Oh my!
I mean, I think it's going to be a miserable experience, and you're going to have an ad campaign from a competing airline that's like, enough of these divisive pricing tactics.
So it's going to be miserable.
Alaska Airlines is going to swoop in and be like, we're for everyone.
Yeah.
Families come in all shapes and sizes.
Right.
You can see this Pepsi Coke clash
it's gonna
coming
be miserable.
a mile away.
You're going to be miserable not having a fat ass sitting next to you in the middle aisle of your fucking flight. You have a fit model next to you, a fitness model. And by the way, every woman's just going to do it because it's going to be 22% cheaper for women to fly.
They're going to be like Alaska Airlines. It takes a village, and it's going to be like Burbank versus Hollywood. It's going to be a culture clash.
That'll be
Do your airline and see if it works.
Oh, I'm doing it.
I think you lost the rights to it.
Guess who ain't fucking in first class or business? Go find a mirror, James. You fucking stay on the ground. Gaming the system.
Gaming it. Hey guys, the Queers for Palestine group offers $1 million for an LGBTQ advocacy org to host a pride parade in Gaza, West Bank. Yeah. Watchdog group that aims to expose hypocrisy announced Monday that it would donate $1 million to Queers for Palestine or any U.S. LGBTQ advocacy organization to host a gay pride parade in Gaza. I feel like this is some high-level trolling, and somebody handed me this article that is a troll.
Yeah, well, they're just trolling them. They're going, you love fucking Palestine. Go over there and have your gay parade over there and see how it works out. Which is not going to happen, and they're not going to do it because they are fucking hypocrites. But they are being trolled. And a good trolling is good on occasion. All right, we got our next guest waiting in the waiting room. James, I'm going to give you a plug. Even though it's against my better judgment after that fucking attack.
On the brilliant business model you have.
Hey, I'm into it.
Well, every woman would fly that airline. Every woman, look. Here's the deal. There'd be a
just because you got lucky with one BMX bike, you think you can predict everything?
You were so off the fucking rails. I'll put sandbags in my underpants. What the fuck? How's that going to help you when
you're going to have so many people like tricking the weight system and everything?
I don't know how.
Wait a minute. All right. I travel the merch bag when I travel.
Sure.
I get it to 49 pounds because if you get to 50, they charge you.
Sure.
When I set it on the scale at Southwest at Burbank, how could I trick them with the weight? Like helium balloons? Or
no.
How would I game their system? How would I trick them?
I spent my whole life trying to trick a scale.
Oh, yeah. He's been trying to make 185 since he was 14.
Exactly.
You get electromagnetic gun that's gonna like make it go 1 pound lower. You got beep. You get like a kill switch for TVs out in public. You're gonna have people like trying to game the system, and you're gonna lose a lot of money from the ad campaign of like this dehumanizing Southwest regime.
Why don't people game the system when they're weighing bags at Southwest now?
Because it doesn't matter much, and people can throw away money, I suppose, and they're late for a flight and all this kind of thing.
All right, I'm going to need you to sort this out because I feel like you're all over.
I know you have.
You can't game a scale system. You weigh in before every fight.
Yeah.
You fucking cut weight like an insane person.
Yes.
Can you game the system?
There's a lot of people there's a lot of eyes on that.
Hang on the towel, get butt naked, and then hang on the towel a little bit.
Oh, you can hang on the towel.
Look, I've done everything. I stood on my head to try to get all the blood in my head and then lean over.
Oh, wow.
There's leaning over. Yeah. Yes. Are you fully on the scale? Are you not fully on the scale?
Anything you can. I had bad dreams about taking my blood out and putting them back in.
Jesus Christ. Just to get some luggage on a Southwest flight, or maybe I'm confused. Path to Most Resistance is the name of
Path of Most Resistance.
Path of Most Resistance, available as we speak, and also James, and I'll do ADOMIAN.com. Dates, tours, events.
Yep, on my website, jamesadomian.com. Thank you, Adam.
All right, thanks, James. We'll take a quick break. Be right back right after this. O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly offers friendly, helpful service and the parts and knowledge you'll need for all your maintenance and repairs. That's right. It's not just about maintenance. You got to repair it every once in a while yourself. I've been going to O'Reilly since, knee-high to a boll weevil? I don't know what they say. Grasshopper? I've always gone to O'Reilly. I used to live up in the hills in La Crescenta. I'd go to the one up on Foothill. Still there. Passed it the other day. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in store or online, so you'll never have to worry if you're in a jam. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of your car, which is nice. You don't have to pull it. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find the right battery for your vehicle. Need your windshield wipers replaced, brake light fixed, quick service, they'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help as well. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the team at O'Reilly knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, friendly. So, the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto, do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in the store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Adam, I'm driving through middle America in Iowa. I stop, walk into a diner to get a bite to eat, and staring me in the face, there's a sign with an arrow. This area for those with mask only. What the fuck? Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Kristian Nairn is joining us now. You know him from Game of Thrones. Hodor, the game, and I should say the book, Beyond the Throne, Epic Journeys, Enduring Friendships, and Surprising Tales. And that is available September 24th on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever you find finer books. Good to see you, Kristian.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I know you're a DJ. I know you play the guitar well, I'm told. And then, well, I know. The thing about that is everyone does the when they're talking about, but other people say you play the guitar well. And then and somebody said to me moments ago before we went hot, he said, oh, he's backstage with the band Megadeth, and he was playing with them. And then I thought, one of my best friends in grade school and junior high was a guy by the name of Nick Menza, who was the drummer for Megadeth. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Nick was from North Hollywood, California. His dad is Don Menza, who was a pretty famous saxophonist. And I was best friends with his son, Nick. He was a very sweet guy. And then we got out of high school, and he went off and did Megadeth, and I went on to a construction site and dug ditches, and we both pursued our dreams. And I was surprised to find out that he's been gone for 8 years. He was playing the drums at the Baked Potato. Yeah, I know how old he is because we're exactly the same age, and he just died just playing with not Megadeth, but I think another band.
Yeah. I mean, Megadeth did their lineup change quite a lot, but he was my favorite. He was definitely my favorite lineup of Megadeth. I mean, he's such an incredible drummer.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because he never talked about it or did it the whole time I knew him, but his dad was a real accomplished jazz saxophonist. Yeah. And a little piece of trivia, Nick Menza's dad, Don Menza, the saxophone player, was Cleto Escobedo, the saxophone player for Jimmy Kimmel's band, Cleto and the Cletones. Cleto is a good old friend of Jimmy's who grew up across the street from him in Vegas, who went on to be a saxophone player, then went on to lead the band for the show, is a student of Don Menza. So Don Menza taught Cleto many years ago to play. So see, everyone's
bit of a dynasty.
Yeah, everyone's kind of just a couple steps removed,
Love that.
Yeah. So you, musician, actor, you have a book, and what are some of the things you've chronicled in the book that might surprise us?
Well, really, it's a balance between my life growing up in Belfast and how my life changed when I took the role in Game of Thrones, which was 100% changed. Like everything is different. Everything is different in 99% positive ways. Don't ask me what the 1% is, by the way, which isn't positive. But it really chronicles that journey, how I navigated through a very quickly changing life in my hometown, which at the time I was growing up was still quite traditional. And I certainly was not a traditional person. But it's really learning how to fit into my own skin and into my own life, and then trying to make my life fit me. So that's really the story of that and how I got to where I am today.
Where they filmed Game of Thrones?
And mostly in Belfast, which is my hometown.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was amazing. I didn't have to stay in hotels or anything like that. I just got to go home every night, which was so nice.
Was it for scenery, for tax purposes and incentives, or like all the above?
I think it's all the above, honestly, because I think our local government did give some. I think they did give some tax stuff. But the one thing about Belfast is, within 5 minutes of leaving the city centre, you're in like beautiful Irish countryside, and that's one of the things. You don't have to travel too far. You know. It's beautiful. I don't know if you've been, but it's beautiful.
I have, and I mean, it's kind of that way, or probably was that way here back in the day when they would shoot Westerns. You know, they're set up in Burbank or Hollywood. All you have to do is go over to Chatsworth, and you could just shoot a Western in 1956. There was nothing there. You know, it's just dirt and rocks. You go to Simi Valley in 1975. There's nothing. Yeah. Just shoot a Western anywhere. You shoot a Western guy's backyard in North Hollywood in the 50s. Didn't John DeLorean manufacture DeLoreans there?
Yes. Literally, probably 2 miles away from where I grew up.
Really?
Yeah, and I think the plant is still there. But that was a big thing in Belfast when the DeLoreans came and Back to the Future and stuff, obviously. That was huge for Belfast. It's just a shame. I don't think the electric ones are being made in Belfast, but that would have been cool.
Oh, they're making electric DeLoreans now, huh?
Yeah, can you believe it?
What?
Oh, nice.
Who knows?
Well, I mean, look, I think that the rub with the electric cars, this is interesting. Okay, so let's see if we can figure this out.
I've had 2 electric cars, so I
want to get a Rivian. Which one did you get?
Right, I started out with a Tesla, and I got rid of it, and now I have a BMW.
Oh, you do?
And I will probably be getting rid of it. I don't.
You're going to get a third electric car?
Oh, no, I only have one. I mean, I don't have I've got a stable of electric cars.
No, I know, but you're getting rid of the BMW.
Yeah, I'm not going to get another electric. Not for now. I don't think we're there yet, honestly, especially not in the UK and Ireland. We don't have that many chargers. We don't have,
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. The only problem, or not problem, the only benefit is you can drive across Ireland in 3 to 4 hours. So, like, a charge will take you far in Ireland.
Right.
But I travel a lot, so it doesn't really make much sense to me, really, at the minute. I think it's good technology, but I just don't think we're there yet.
Yeah, we're close. Well, the thing about, like, yeah, you're correct. Like, so in LA and California, we're there with the technology of electric cars, but the electrical grid is so bad and the charging station infrastructure is bad. So the car companies figured out the car, but the state didn't really figure out the infrastructure part of it. And the one that works is Tesla because there's chargers everywhere. But if I have an Audi electric car, and that's a different argument.
Why? Because you got to get a charger.
Audi, actually, maybe the same one. Sorry to interrupt there. I think he has some range issues.
Yeah. Well, first thing, the range o-meter is a liar. Because the way the range works on electric cars, and listen, I don't know if Ralph Nader's still alive, but he needs to get involved. Somebody needs to figure this out, because the way the range thing works is you go, okay, I'm driving 28 miles. Like I live in Malibu and I work in Glendale, and that's 28 miles. And my range says I have 107 miles range. And I go, okay, that should be enough for me to get to work and then come home because that's only 56 miles combined, and I'm at 107.
Yeah.
I pull into work, I have 7 miles left worth of range, and I'm like, hold on, bitch. I traveled 28 miles, not 88 miles. And that's like, hey, that's what the range thing says. I don't like the federal government, but they need to get involved with these range things because this is a pure lie.
I bet you used the AC, though, or you might have used your radio. You shouldn't have done that one.
Listen.
Or maybe there was a hill.
It's going to cause a divorce. It's going to cause a lot of divorces, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you what just happened to me. My daughter lives in Santa Barbara. I'm in Malibu. This is the whitest conversation that's ever happened. I'm in my plug-in electric Audi 8, right? And I'm driving to go visit my daughter with my girlfriend, right? And I know that Santa Barbara's like 106 miles away, but my range says 300 miles, but I know this lying whore that is the range on that. I go, I don't know if we're going to have enough to make it back or whatever. So we're driving, and my girlfriend's doing her makeup. She's got the visor flipped down and the thing's flipped open, which lights up a light above her.
Chip in the battery.
And then at some point, I'm driving, I'm looking at the range, and it's falling fast, and I go, you done with your makeup? And she goes, yeah. I am done. I go, okay, shut the thing. Then shut the flap and put the flap down. We're burning calories here with this light. And she goes, yeah, okay. And then 5 minutes later, I look over and it's back down again. And I go, hey, what did we talk about? And she's like, hey, I'm doing my makeup again. I go, well, you're done. You're done. So put it back. Now we're getting an argument over a dome light because of this range anxiety.
Yeah, range anxiety is a thing. It is a thing. You know what I'm talking about. And then you start getting superstitious. Like, look, we're not listening to any hard rock. We got to listen to classical. Hard rock is a range burner.
Yeah.
It only makes sense. Megadeth is going to burn up too much battery.
Too much calories.
Too many calories. We need something slow. We need a waltz.
Hey, how was it being like the hometown boy shooting like the biggest show in the world in your hometown? Like, what did that do for you personally? And like, to extend upon that, like, I don't know, like as a gay man in like a conservative place, like what did that do for your status and I don't know, people in general?
An interesting question, actually. Yeah. Well, I was always able to give good restaurant recommendations. I was immensely proud. I love to see Belfast being featured on TV when it's not talking about religion and not talking about problems. Because it's a really amazing place. And being from there and being in all my home scenery, I just couldn't have been prouder, honestly. And I know it is a conservative place, but I think Irish people have a kind core. When you get to the centre of it all, I think we're a kind people. We've been through a lot as a people. And we have strong ideas about things, but I think people are kind in Ireland. And whereas it was conservative, Ireland was also the first country to approve gay marriage by a public vote.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
In the world. So, and being such a Catholic country also, I mean, that's a huge thing. But I'm from the north, so we were a little bit behind. We're a little bit more conservative up there. But things have really changed. I'd really sort of dealt with that part before Game of Thrones had happened through my other careers, working in nightclubs and everything like that. So I'd really crossed the gay bridge. Yeah. So we're gay bridge.
Yeah.
Well, I've definitely freaking crossed it.
I think it's in West Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah, we have one.
Wow.
What year did they legalize gay marriage in Ireland? Do you remember?
It's not that long ago. It's maybe, guys, help me. If you're watching this interview, help me. I'm going to say something wrong here.
We'll look it up.
Maybe 5 years, maybe 4 or 5 years. It's not long. Because the political party there had a thing called a clause of concern when the government, of the UK government, because obviously Ireland or Northern Ireland's governed by the UK currently, they approved gay marriage in the rest of the UK. And they had this clause of concern that the local political parties were able to sort of put a wedge in there and stop it.
2015, so it says. So it's been coming up on 10 years.
Well, actually, yeah. I still haven't got married, so,
I feel bad for you because you're 6'10".
I don't feel bad for me.
I do. I'll tell you why I do. Because
my back disagrees with you, but yeah.
I did construction for a million years, and I know that an interior door height is 6'8". That means you should feel sorry for anyone over 6'8", because if you are over 6'8" and you're inside any house, you have to duck going room to room.
Yeah.
I can run full speed from one room to the next. Chin sticking into the air, chest pulled back, full speed. I will sprint.
Wow.
Through my home, but they're all 6'8",
I've
and that
seen
means
you do it on a unicycle.
I'll do it on the unicycle. But now I'm not talking about custom homes, but I'm talking about just interior.
Standard.
You rent any apartment in any place in America or beyond, it's going to be 6'8", right?
Yep.
So,
I have a good radar, though. I've developed a radar over the years. But I will tell you, if I get pissed if I hit my head, I don't know. It's a trigger.
You're walking around clicking like a dolphin so you can feel the echolocation.
yeah, so
like
if you, I don't know where you're living, but if you were building a house, it would make sense to jack up those doorways to 7 foot, right?
Wait, but I'm not sensible. So I haven't done that yet. My doorways... My doorways are pretty average, actually, but I haven't managed to smash my head just yet.
But you got to get down a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah. I have to do the whole...
Yeah. Every doorway.
Lying down. Yeah.
And that's
a humble way to enter a room.
That's barefoot. And then when you put your boots on, you really got to get down low.
My hair as well. I have to twist
your
it
hair? Yeah. Yeah. So, and I guess, if you were building a house, you'd do it. You'd get you might get a toilet that was a little higher off the ground. You'd get a California king bed. I'm doing the thinking for you.
Doing the math.
Thank
there.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom still stays with me as well, or it's her house really. So I have to think about if she can reach the cupboards as well. Because she's like 5'4".
Oh,
so we have to be somewhere in the middle.
How'd you get to be 6'10" if she's 5'4"?
I live too close to the power plant.
Is right?
No. I don't know. My father was tall. My father's side of the family was tall, but I never met them, so I can't. I don't know. But my mom tells me.
You never met your biological dad?
Well, at 2 years old, I met him, but he only came in for like 10 minutes. I don't remember.
Did he didn't come out of the woodwork after Game of Thrones got popular like some dads might,
I wrote to him last year, actually. I wrote him a letter. Mom gave me his address. She had it in her Rolodex. And it wasn't for him. It was for me. I didn't need a reply. I just wanted to tell him who I was, what I'd done. And it's like, I don't need a reply. I didn't, which was lucky because I didn't get one. So,
well, that's heavy, bud.
It is heavy, man. But I've dealt with that, and he wasn't necessary in my life. I wish he was there. I wish I had a father figure. But my mum did a great job, and my grandmother did a great job, and my uncle did a great job. So they all sort of pitched in, and I don't feel they missed anything.
See.
Yeah, well, look, you can have, there's such thing as bad dads who hang around, so you can have that. It's not
I'm
all.
very fortunate. I really have great parent figures, so I feel
yeah, having somebody step up is good. It's pretty unusual, though, that the dad, look, I interview a lot of people. A lot of actors come from places. A lot of creatives come from places that were a little unstable, didn't know their dad. But there's almost always some circling back, some attempt at something. It doesn't always work. People don't always change their ways. Sometimes people get sober. There's a sobriety facet to this. But I've not heard of one where the dad just never came by. No. Like it just never circled back.
No, and my mum has told me very honestly that they just didn't get on. There was no abuse. There was no anger, really. They just didn't. It wasn't like a massively crazy relationship. They just didn't like being married, and they separated, and that was that. But she did expect him. I will say this: he always he paid her money. He paid for me. He never missed one payment.
Really?
Yeah. So he just didn't want to be a dad.
Huh. Do you think there's a certain amount of shame in it? Because I'm wired like if I didn't, I'd feel so much shame that I'd be like, it's so uncomfortable because I would feel so much shame. I didn't want to be in front of that shame, you know?
Well, even, also being a gay man, obviously I've had conversations with my lesbian friends over the years. It's just one of those things you go through. There's a stage you might want to try having a baby, because I did feel like being a father at one stage. I could never. I mean, a lot of my friends would have wanted like an absent, just you to provide the goods and then that's it. Huh. I don't know how you can't be involved in your child's life. I would be immensely privileged to have a friggin' son. I would love to have a son. I just don't know how you can live 20 miles away. And yeah, it's crazy to me.
Not enough of that like selfish gene permeated you, apparently. Like,
man. The important part for me is I don't care anymore. I would have loved to have met him, but I don't need to now.
No, I agree that a lot of this, while it can be filed under the heading of hurtful, is also a little bit confusing. Like, wow, how could you? Yeah. I got a dad who's a little detached, let's say. And a lot of the stuff he does falls under the heading of confusing for me. Like just weird stuff. Like there's a guy, I always tell a story. But again, it's like it's sort of hurtful, but it's also sort of confusing. Like there's a guy, it's a conservative talk show host out here, name is Dennis Prager. And he's got a lot of wisdom, and he writes books on the Bible and stuff like that. And my dad likes the guy. Yeah. He's a kind of a fan of the guy. And he knows I know Dennis. And so when I see him, sometimes he'll go, "Hey, did you see Dennis? Have you said hi to Dennis? Or what's Dennis up to?" And then I always say, "Dad, Dennis and I made a full-length movie together. We made a feature film together. So I'm in a film with Dennis." And he goes, "Okay, well, if you see him, you tell him I said hi." And I go, "You don't ask what the name of the film is or how you could see the film?" He never has. The film's 8 years old. He hasn't seen it. He's not going to see it. He's never asked. I've told him 17 times, I made a film. He'll go, "What's Dennis up to?" And I'll go, "I made a film with him." And he'll go, "Okay, well, there you go. What do you want to eat for lunch?" And he doesn't know the name of the film. Now, it's hurtful, but it's also confusing.
Why?
To me, because if there's a guy I really liked and my son made a movie with him, I'd be like, whoa, where do we see this film?
Well, maybe it's just his hyperfixation. He has it, but it just goes in a different direction.
I have hypervigilance, thank you. No, his goes, you cannot move his needle. And the fact that this guy's a son and the son's on Game of Thrones and he's 20 miles away. Yeah. Like you just think at a certain point, forget about all the emotions. I got to have a beer with this dude.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. It was purely, in the letter I wrote, it was like, I don't want anything from you. It would just be cool to say hi. You know, just to literally see who the half of me is. That's all.
How long ago was that? And is that part of your book?
Only about a year ago.
Oh, no, it's not. Oh, no. So it's not even in the book. This is to be continued.
Well, yeah, it was actually writing the book prompted me to write the letter. Yeah. Because obviously you do a lot of soul searching when you're writing the book. And that was one of the things that I thought I think that would add to me. I think, like it or not, I have a part missing. So I would like to have seen at least what it looks like. Yeah. Even just to be in the presence at one stage. But yeah, it's honestly, man, I'm not going to say I'm not scarred from it. I mean, I think everyone is. But I'm okay. Totally okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a world where no one really gets through it unscathed, then you just have to kind of figure out like what degree is your damage, because you don't get zero damage, you get some damage. And then there's catastrophic damage, Yeah. And the catastrophic stuff is, whatever the worst thing you can imagine. That's the catastrophic stuff. You're at an outdoor music festival and you get kidnapped by Hamas. I mean, you've been living in a tunnel for a year. That's the worst. That's the worst you can get. And then there's Uber guy was a prick. You know what I mean? Kind of damage. And then there's, my dad split, but I got a good uncle and he stepped up, or I got let go by my real biological parents, but I got adopted by a good couple. You know what I mean? It's all as a sort of degree thing.
Tell us about the iconic death scene that your character had with the zombies knocking out the door. I'm not really familiar with the show as much as I am that scene. There's like a magical thing. When I saw your face, I was like, hey, that's the guy with the zombies and the door. And tell us about like shooting that and I don't know, the whole experience.
Well, firstly, I will say that in the most HBO and Game of Thrones thing ever, they killed me on my 40th birthday.
Wow.
Perfect.
So it's like, here's your cake, you're dead. So it took a very long time to film. There was a lot of locations, and it all flows together on screen, which you would never know. But it was just hugely emotional because I was literally leaving the set that day. I wasn't like, most things are filmed out of order, and as you know, out of sequence. But this was my last day. It was my last day and my last day. So I've gotten so close to Isaac over the years. I felt like I was leaving my little brother and surrogate family. So that was the sad thing. But it was just such an immensely cool scene to film. We had explosions and pyrotechnics. They built a whole cave system inside a studio, like an entire tunnel. You have no idea the size of these sets. It's unreal. And it took a long time, and I think I'm very proud of it, actually. It's hard work.
I'm going to ask Joe if we can watch a little of that.
Yeah. Fair use.
And also, everything is shot out of order with everything. So it is weird that your last day on set was the day your character died.
That's right.
And do you think they did it that way intentionally?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised. But no, I don't think so.
How's the culture on the set? Like, you said like family, huh? So you guys really close.
Yeah, I mean, even when I haven't seen, like, there's some people I don't see very often, and then you'll see them again. And it's almost as if we have like a shared experience. Well, we have had a shared experience, but it was such a bizarre experience and such a life-changing experience for so many people, because a lot of us were first-time actors or first time in a big production. So it's been a life-changer for a lot of people. And I think we have that sense of, we went through this crazy situation, probably unlike any other. And I think we'll always have that bond. Now,
going back to the beginning, how did they pick you? I mean, you have like a very interesting face. You're a really big guy. Like, what I mean is like, you look like, I guess, I can't see that character not being you now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, how did that casting go?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, if you look at the description of Hodor in the books, I'm not that.
Yeah.
I'm completely different. But yeah, I had actually auditioned for another part. It was in a movie called Hot Fuzz. But I wasn't.
Movie.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
It's a really great movie. And it was for another one-word character, actually. And I think that's where the casting director kind of went, he wasn't right for that part. But hang on. And it was Nina Gold. And I remember her telling me she just couldn't think about anybody else for this part. And I went and did the audition. And it was a terrible audition. And it is sadly on the internet, if you really wish to spend, if you want to see me traipsing around the garden, sweating and looking panicky, it's on the internet, so you can enjoy that. But it was a terrible audition also, but I obviously did something right, because that's something you need to learn as a new actor. I didn't know at the time, but auditioning is an entirely different skill than being an actor. Yeah. I'm sure you know yourself. It's just, you have to learn how to bloody audition.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that at that stage.
Well, we have the scene. We have your death scene.
Oh, here we go.
Ready, by the way, to enjoy. So we're pulling up right now. Oh. All indoors. Indoor set. The zombies are coming. I wonder what was the. Do you have any idea what the budget per episode was for this?
There's a lot of money spent on it.
Man, this looks expensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to give a shout out to Sam, by the way, the guy who played a younger me. I don't think he gets enough credit. He did a really good job. He really had to jump into that production. It was only on another one episode, so he had to like take on what I'd done and then do his own version of it. So he did a really great job.
We have the internet says approximately $10 million per episode. Wow. How many episodes did they do all in?
There was like 10 episodes in the first 7 seasons, I want to say. So that's 70. And then in the last season, they were double length, and they did 8 of them.
Uh-huh.
But you really had 16.
Right.
So you're talking 86 episodes.
Jesus.
Man, it really went hard.
I will tell you, they didn't spend that much money at the start.
Uh-huh.
So that as the show grew, the budget grew, I believe.
And so obviously being 6'10" and being on one of the most popular shows in the world, you're going to get stopped a lot. You're going to get recognized a lot.
Yeah.
I've been recognized a lot. I usually find people are friendly and enjoyable and nice. I don't know. People make a big deal. Oh, you get hassled. You know, you don't really get hassled. People say hi and they say nice things, and that's usually about it.
Honestly, from the start of Game of Thrones and all this craziness, I could count on one hand over maybe 15 years that I've even been irritated a little bit. And that's 15 years and thousands of people. So, very lucky.
I agree. Kristian, we'll go out on a happy note of you not being bothered by fans.
I'm never bothered.
Beyond the Thrones, the name of the book. It'll be out September 24th, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and beyond. Kristian, great speaking to you.
Thank you. Likewise, and thank you for having me, guys.
It was our pleasure. And when you're in L.A., come by and hit your head on my door jam.
Anytime. I would happily hit my head on your doors.
I know it sounds like gay code, but I'm actually talking about it.
I think it was.
Kristian Nairn, thank you so much for coming in. Or zooming in. I'm going to be doing a stand-up tonight, and that'll be at Jimmy Kimmel's Club out in Las Vegas. And you can go to James Adomian. You can go to his website. Check out his Path of Most Resistance on YouTube. That's available. As we speak, Mayhem.
Yeah.
Manuka Honey, what are you plugging here?
Whatever, man. I have a seminar in Tampa on the 28th. If you're into jiu-jitsu, look me up on Instagram. I'll be out there.
So, until next time, Adam, for Kristian and James and Jason saying mahalo.